Hope you'll afford me a little bit of a pre-script on this video, but picked up a couple hard drives here. Look at these things. These are disgusting. I don't know if that's dust or what that is. Frankly, I probably don't even want to know, but what are they? Why did I pick up such dirty pieces of junk? That's why. Now, these are practically guaranteed not to work, considering they came out of a scrap bin. But I'm going to clean them off. I'm going to test them. And if they happen to work, then hey, I have a couple of free 1 terabyte hard drives that I did not have previously. Saves me having to go buy one. I think you'll agree. These look much better. They're not perfect, but I don't really want them to be perfect. Yeah, you can see that there's evidence that these ones have been thrown around. So, yeah, I don't really have much confidence that these actually work, but you never know unless you try. Now, these are ST1000DM003s. I don't know what it is about these, but every other one of these Seagate Barracuda drives, these desktop drives, all of them work almost completely flawlessly, except for these ST1000DM003s. I've had so many of these things go bad. So it's probably just exactly what's going wrong here. I don't know if it's just the manufacturing or what the deal is, but I guess we're going to find out if these two are part of that statistic or not in just a second. Here will be the basis of this video, the Dell Dimension 5150, but for now, this could really use a good cleaning too. Yuck. Maybe I'll give it a good cleaning and I'll come back. Well, at least I got most of the big parts cleaned up. But it's still quite a mess. Wish I still had my air compressor. That would make my life so much easier trying to do this. No, most of it. I didn't get all of it. I'm going to take this hard drive out because it's not staying in here anyway. Grab another serial ATA cable, and we'll get this party started. Okay, definitely much better. Although not perfect. Looks like I missed some spots here. Oh man, wow. This is a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be to clean this out, but at least it's coming along somewhat. Okay, there are the 2 new drives. The old drive is out, sitting over there. See, it's quite a bit older. If the camcorder would focus, you could see it's quite a bit older. Quite a bit thicker, too. It's a full-size drive as opposed to these, which are smaller despite being almost 10 times the capacity. So I'm going to put the side panel on, I'll get my HDAT2 disc, and I'll get a monitor and a keyboard, and we'll give this thing a whirl. Yay, we're ready to go. So go ahead and sorry for the glare. There's not much I can really do. Power it up. I'll push F12 so I can get the boot menu. And we'll go for onboard CD-ROM. It's crooked, there's not much I can do. Apparently this tripod is crooked for some reason. And I think the display is also crooked, so that's really not helping. HDAT2. Now we'll get to see which of these drives actually is detected at all. Except my keyboard has now stopped working. Good job. Okay, I don't know what that was about. Oh no, that's a CD-ROM. Okay, well I got 1 drive. But it says the smart's okay on it. Interesting. Low-hour drive. I don't know why I've only got 1. Apparently it got too hot at some point. Wow. Yeah, this one, these ones were used pretty heavily. Look at that, petabytes worth. Oh, but it works. Or at least it seems to work. It's actually in better shape than the SSHD I'd put in that other server, so I don't trust it. That's interesting. The number of sectors read does not correspond to the LBA reads and the LBA writes. So it's probably recording those values into something invalid, so well, there's that. I gotta see why this other drive isn't working, though. That was an easy fix. Probably helps to enable it in system setup, you know? Okay, I think this was the one that I just looked at. But, yeah, it's probably the one that I just looked at. How about the other one? Roughly the same. Lots more reads recorded, though. Again, apparently it got hot. The writes are the same. Seems to be roughly the same, but they are both in functional shape, so those would be good spares at the very least. Probably replace the one in my one server with this. It would be an easy thing to do. But that is not why we're here. We're here for a server replacement. So that is what we're going to get right on to here in just a few seconds. I'm sure everybody remembers this, but if you don't, this is that compact Presario Walmart case that's got my old, used to be my main rig back when it was brand new, the Asus P5PE-VM. Funny enough, I actually almost went with a system that had the AMD equivalent, or the AMD board, the M2NPV-VM. And I'm really glad I went with the Intel, because the AMD one had an NVIDIA Enforce chipset on it, whereas this has an Intel chipset, and really, ugh, NVIDIA chipsets, I hate them. And they hate me, so yeah, they're junk. But nevertheless, this is what we have. And this system recently, when I put it in to replace the, what did I replace? I quickly replaced the Northern Micro Spirit with this. This is my second NAS, which is running Windows Server 2008. But when I put it in, I lost one of the RAM slots. One of the channels of memory went bad, so I'm limited to one RAM slot. Which means I'm limited to 1 gig of RAM, which wasn't really too bad, but I'd rather have more than that. So, and this hardware was sitting around the Dimension 5150, and it's a much newer platform and a much better platform, so might as well just make use of that. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do and what you're going to watch, is I'm going to pull out the hardware. Oh, yeah, the other thing, too, is that it has a 100 megabit Ethernet card in it, because the onboard gigabit does not work. And I need to upgrade that. I actually bought an upgrade. This is the D-Link gigabit desktop adapter. Hope it's good, but either way, since I was going to have to replace that anyway to get gigabit speeds, I might as well just take out the home machine and put that card in the Dell, because the Dell only has 10100 on board, and we can have nice, well, my whole network, at least all the important stuff, will be all gigabit. So, pull the cover off of that. You can have a look at the magic elixir within. I'm going to have to pull off the front panel, which kind of sucks. It's not difficult to do, but I was hoping not to. But we can have a look inside. You can see there the Asus motherboard, the P5PE-VM, with the crapo Intel pushpin cooler. I've never removed that cooler, so of course I put in a EA380 80 plus power supply. It's got 2 hard drives in it. They're both serial ATA, which is good. I'm hoping that I can just transfer these 2 drives over to the new machine and not have to worry about reinstalling the operating system, because they're both Intel chipsets. But I guess we're going to find out. Okay, I threw in the pre-script because this video isn't really all terrifically interesting, but if there's anything that you take from this, this is how you remove the front panel on your system. Now, you want to be careful with it, but there are 2 tabs. Actually, there's 4 tabs, I apologize. There's one here, there's one on the bottom, and there's one here, and then there's another one corresponding on the bottom. You want to remove these tabs first. It shouldn't be too hard. You'll see it flip out like that, and then up here there's a green button that you push, and then you can remove the rest of it. Now, I have to be careful here because I've got wires going to this little front panel temperature sensor. You probably won't have those, but that doesn't excuse not being careful with it. And then you can see the drives. Probably going to remove these off camera, but really the way you do it is you have there's little green plastic tabs that you lift up and you pull the drives forward. Alright, I've now removed both drives. This is the 200 gigabyte data storage drive, and this is the 80 gigabyte boot drive. Now, this machine uses special screws. It would do you no good to lose these if you want to reuse them. Fortunately, in the front of the case, there is room to install your screws. So that's where I'm going to leave them until such time that I'm going to reuse them. Probably not too long from now. I have plans to revert this back to its original glory. But anyways, I believe these 2 spots are hard drive bays. One of them actually has what used to be front panel audio, but now has this thing attached to it, the little temperature sensor. And these 2, this one I have a floppy, and this one I've got empty, or I had a hard drive in it, but I'd imagine it's probably meant for something like a floppy. For whatever reason, Compaq chose to make both of them full 5 1/4 inch expansion slots. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, just that they did. So, anyway, get these out. I'll get this computer out of the way, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the drives into the Dimension 5150. As well as a network card. Head's dirty. Okay, whatever. Don't know what the deal is with that. Probably the tape. Nevertheless, let's have a little bit of an unboxing. Just again to give you something useful in this video. So, grab one of these PCI slot blanks and use that to open it because I am very dedicated to standards. I'm not going to turn this into a whole huge spectacle, but basically if you want to read any of this, you can pause the video to do so. There's the model. Same deal with this. I'm assuming that you can't actually read it. Anyway, very easy. There is the card itself. They give you a small form factor adapter bracket that you can install if you want it. Need it, I should say. GPL code statement. Quick install guide. I really hope that nobody in this day and age needs a guide on how to install a PCI card in their computer. Start here. I might actually need this. It depends whether or not Windows actually has a built-in driver for it. So, anyway, we'll get that out of the way. I'll grab the Dimension 5150 and we'll begin this installation process. Dell. Anyway, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I did remove the onboard video because I don't think it's going to need it. And I think I'd be right in saying it's not going to need it because I just had it running. The onboard should be more than good enough for what I'm going to do anyway. And if it frees up resources, it frees up resources. So anyway, I'm going to get my slot blanks and insert covers where they're needed. The only slot I'm going to need is the one slot for the Ethernet adapters. I'm going to hopefully put these in place properly. Probably do it completely inappropriately and have somebody shout at me, "Hey, you did no wrong." But you know what? This is as it happens. I do not script my videos, so there you go. Well, I'm not going to put it in the bottom slot. I don't think it really matters. Normally I would, but in this case I'm not going to, because I would like to actually be able to access the cable with it sitting where it's sitting. So let's go ahead and open this. Maybe. I shouldn't need a pair of scissors to do this, but what's wrong with my scissors? Alright, whatever. Okay, very carefully, go ahead and take this out. Have a quick look. There would be your spot for an option ROM. Realtek chipset. Pretty standard stuff. Gigabit Ethernet. Doesn't tell you the link speed. That kind of sucks. I thought usually they did, but I guess these days they assume you're going to be using gigabit. Can't slide it in like that, so I'm going to have to do it this way. And hopefully this is correct. And I remember it being difficult to install cards in this machine. Might not be able to do this on camera. Or I might have to edit it out because I start using swear words. Come on. Wow. That's terrible. Well, it's in place, though. Seems a little crooked, but it is in place. Put that in there, and there we go. This machine is now gigabit. Now I gotta remove these two drives that I was just testing, and see if this thing will boot. I hope it will. Okay, got it set up. Boot drive, data drive, because that's the way that it was set up previously, to have the SATA ports in order. Now, all I gotta do is put the side cover on and give this thing a quick test, make sure that everything is going to work. Well, it probably helps if I plug the computer in, doesn't it? Okay, power it up. Focus is going to go nuts. I want F2 to get into the setup and make sure that it's set up correctly. This monitor needs to stand up correctly. Oh, I don't need that CD to be in the drive anymore. This is my original optical drive from my main rig back in 2005. I think the same thing is true of the floppy. Why is that out of focus? Anyway, let's see. Let's go to our serial ATA stuff. Okay, 80 gigabyte master drive, and hey, 200 gigabyte Samsung drive. Boot sequence. Doesn't give me a priority listing. Well, whatever. Let's just assume everything's gonna work, right? I hear hard drive activity. Let's see, does it crash? Stop going wildly in and out of focus. I don't hear any hard drive activity. Oh, here we go. That's promising. I might go ahead and grab a mouse, just because it's Windows. Although I could do everything from the keyboard. Go ahead and proficient at that. Probably not going to install their software, but I'm going to log in and see what's needed. Okay, I want software for my video controller. Ask me later. Just so I can keep on going here. Or crash, that's always also a possibility. Wow. There we go. Ask me again later. And I'm probably going to need their software disk here in a second. Might as well put it in the drive, since I know I'm probably going to need it anyway. I have to give this thing its static IP address back. All that fun stuff. So we'll put this disk in the drive. Assume that it's got a driver that is sufficient to work. Ethernet controller. Okay. Come on. Locate and install driver software. Don't search online. Insert the disk. Well, I just did, so we'll go for Alt-N. Searching disk. Installing driver software. Okay, good. It actually found a sufficient driver. Probably the Windows XP driver, but I don't really care. If there even is a Windows XP driver. What did the system requirements say? Does it actually have system requirements listed? Oh, yeah, here we go. Minimum requirements. Yeah, Windows XP, it would be supported, so... Definitely taking its sweet time to do this. This wasn't supposed to be a long video, but I guess that's what it turned into. DGE 530T Gigabit Ethernet Adapter. Close. Still... Oh, now it's figuring out my network. Alt-C for close. Ethernet controller. Why did it just show up again? No, get out of here. Oh, that's probably the onboard. I think I'm going to disable the onboard while I'm at it. Wants me to reboot, so let's go ahead and reboot. I have to go back into system setup and disable the onboard Ethernet because it's not required. And I'll see if I can actually manage to find driver software for the onboard video. Okay, DMO51. I could probably remove the Ethernet controller driver right now. So let's see, onboard devices. Integrated NIC off. Integrated audio's off, USB is on, that's good. Just make sure that everything, I don't know why speed step is turned off. Acoustic mode, performance. Those should all be fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Event log. Memory size different. I wonder why it gave me that error message. Probably when I removed the the one set of memory modules to bring it back down to 4 gigs. Okay, alright. That's good. Give me my disk. Give me my disk, foo. Oh, man. But at least it boots. That's all that really matters. And I gotta set my static IP all over again. Because I don't want it floating all over my network. Although I think it would probably work just fine otherwise. Maybe I'll leave it alone. Since I do most of my accessing through it using the NetBIOS name, it should be just fine. Well, looks like the answer to that is a big fat no. It does not have a driver. Okay, I don't have the disk. We could either check for a solution or browse computer manually. I don't care. So, next time it turns on, I guess I'm going to have to, well, say, never ask me again because it will not have the driver. Alright, but let's just go ahead and have a quick look-see at what's going on in here. You can see Windows Server Standard 2007. Oh, it tripped the automatic activation. Or it tripped the activation on this. Hope it's going to reactivate. Pentium 4, 3.0, 4 gigs of RAM, blah blah blah, all that stuff is great. Alt-M for device manager. Let's just see what unknown devices we have. Looks like just the video. Okay, good enough. Don't really care. Let me activate. Or, I guess we'll do it on camera because you only live once. I like to live dangerously. Activate Windows Online now. It's probably going to fail because my life is a comedy. Nope. Activation successful! Hooray! So now I can put this machine back where it was. Theoretically, as long as I can access it over the network. Make sure that all the drives are detected as they should be. Yep. With the shared folder intact as well. Theoretically. And there it is. And its final home. At least for now. And that's pretty much it for the video. I know, it really wasn't all that interesting, but some people had asked what my plans were for it, so now you know. This is where it is, what it's doing. Basically, I think it's probably going to be here until it dies, or until I find something a little bit bigger to replace it with. So, well, bigger as in more horsepower and all that, but I think that by the time I actually do replace this, I'm probably going to be migrating away from Windows Server 2008. Anyway, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then.